Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah Bahashem, Yahawashi Bahashem, Rekah Kwadash. I would like to give double honors to the head apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the true leaders of Israel to this day, who taught me this truth. And I would like to say shalom to all the Akim and the Akwath that's believing on this truth and that's seeking their salvation at the hands of Yahawah and his only begotten son, Yahawashi. I would like to say shalom. So today I'm going to entitle my video, There are 3 stages to an empire and 7 stages to a collapse, okay? There are 3 stages to an empire, and the 3 stages to an empire is the rise, the peak, and the decline. And as many brothers has brought out, okay, the average lifespan of an empire is around 250 years, okay? And see, today is July 4th, okay, where many of you proud Americans are getting ready to go out, celebrate the 250 year of America, not realizing that we have been through the rise, the peak, and now we're at, okay, the decline of this man's kingdom. And there are 7 stages, okay, to the collapse of an empire, okay? And it says we're in the 5th stage, all right? We're at the end of this thing, okay? We're in the midst of a transition of power, as it tells you in the book of Sirach, which we'll read before we get this video. This is Sirach chapter 10, verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of the prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, and the unwise king is Esau Edom. Okay, but through the prudency of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable, and that's Yahawashi. Okay, on down to King David, the rest of the 12, and then that 144,000 governing body. Okay, the throne of David. That's going to be the next government to rule the earth, and it's going to be a righteous government. Jumping down to verse 8, it says, because unrighteous dealings, injuries, riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Okay, and see, this kingdom was built off of rape, robbery, and murder. Okay, and see, Esau gonna have to pay all that back. Verse 10, it says, the physician, which is Yahawashi, cutteth off a long disease. He that today is a king, tomorrow shall die. He today that is a king, tomorrow shall die. Okay, we're at the end of this man's kingdom. Okay, once again, you Americans, okay, you Babylonians, you might as well get ready to dress in all black, because this is about to become a funeral. Let's get this video.
There's a pattern in history that has destroyed 3 global superpowers in the last 500 years. And right now in 2025, the United States is following that exact same pattern stage by stage, decision by decision, almost like we're reading from the same script that led to catastrophe every single time before. In 1590, Spain was the richest empire on earth. They controlled half the world's gold and silver. Their military dominated Europe. Their currency was accepted everywhere. Within 80 years, they were bankrupt, a second-rate power that never recovered. In 1914, Britain ruled the largest empire in human history. The sun never set on British territory. The pound sterling was the global reserve currency. Within 40 years, the empire was gone. The currency collapsed. They became America's junior partner. In 1991, the Soviet Union was the other superpower. Nuclear weapons, global influence, satellites spanning the globe. It ceased to exist in 900 days. Not from war, but from economic implosion. 3 times. 3 superpowers. 3 complete collapses, all following the exact same sequence. And here's what should terrify you. The United States has already completed 5 of the 7 stages. We're not approaching the pattern, we're deep inside it. This is the story of how empires die, why they always think they're different, and why the maths says that the United States is next. And it's happening faster than anyone wants to admit. Before we go through the pattern, you need to understand what imperial collapse actually looks like. Not in textbooks, but in practice. What it means when a superpower dies. Imperial collapse doesn't start with invasion or military defeat. It starts starts with economic exhaustion. The empire extends beyond its ability to maintain itself. Military bases in 150 countries, wars on multiple fronts, promises it cannot keep, debts it cannot repay. At first, the decline is invisible. The currency still works, the military still wins battles, the government still makes promises. But beneath the surface,
and that's Habakkuk, okay? This nigga can't keep at home. Let's just get that. That's Habakkuk right there. Okay, this man has stretched himself entirely too thin. All right. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. We'll start up and read into it. Okay. This is Habakkuk 2:2. It says, "And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." And the visions are speaking about the prophecies. Okay. And once again, it is written, okay, for a judgment to come to America, Babylon the Great. Okay. It's written that this devil is going to stretch himself too thin. Okay. This is the last kingdom on earth that's going to play out before Yahawashi brings that divine kingdom to the earth, okay? And we're quickly approaching the end of this man's kingdom, okay? Verse 3, "For the visions is yet for an appointed time." And see, we're in those appointed times, okay? We see what's getting ready to happen real time, okay? And it's plainer to us, all right? The hopeful elect, okay? We know 2/3 are in darkness, okay? Into a, deep sleep. Okay. And we know that the only people that's going to make it up out of America, Babylon the Great, is the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay. All you different nations that's over here, y'all don't have a chance. Okay. At all. Y'all don't have no type of chance to get up out of here unless you leave right now. All right. But the only people that's getting up out of America, Babylon the Great, is the 1/3 of the nation of Israel. Okay. We know what times we're in. "For the visions are yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak." Okay, we're at the end. Okay, we're at the end of empire. Okay, we're at the end of Esau, Edom's world. Tells you that in the book of 2nd Ezra. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. We're at the end. Okay, and it tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes how it's better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. We're at the end of our captivity. All right. And that's why we're celebrating. While you niggas getting ready to go celebrate 4th of July, we're celebrating prophecy. Okay. "The visions is yet for the appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up in him is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man." Speaking about Esau. "Neither keepeth at home." This nigga can't stay his ass in one place. "Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." This nigga can't stay at home. He has stretched himself too thin. Okay, and that's a part of his downfall. Let's play.
Foundation is cracking, resources are misallocated, productive capacity shrinks, the best and brightest people leave, and then comes the acceleration. Allies start hedging, enemies test boundaries, trade partners seek alternatives, the reserve currency status erodes, and suddenly the advantages that made you powerful become vulnerabilities. Your currency, once demanded by everyone, comes flooding back home. Your military spread across the world becomes unsustainable. Your promises, once guaranteed by strength, become empty words. That's not theoretical. That's what happened to Spain, Britain, and the Soviet Union. And it happened because they made exactly the same decisions that America is making now. They believed their power was permanent, they overextended militarily, they debased their currency, and they refused to accept reality until collapse was already underway. Let's look at how it actually happened 3 times the exact same way. Let's start with the first global empire, Spain, from the 1500s to the 1600s. After Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492, Spain became the first true world power. They conquered the Aztec and Inca empires, seized control of the richest gold and silver mines ever discovered. By 1550, Spanish ships were bringing home 200 tons of silver per year. By 1600, over 400 tons annually. Spain controlled the money supply of Europe. The Spanish reals was the global reserve currency. Everyone wanted Spanish silver. And this is where the pattern begins, with a country that controls the money of the world and believes that it makes them invincible. King Philip II, who ruled from 1556 to 1598, had more money than any monarch in history, and he spent it on empire. Stage 1 is military overextension. Spain fought wars everywhere, simultaneously against the Ottoman Empire in the Mediterranean, against France and Italy, against Protestant rebels in the Netherlands, against England's navy, wars in the Philippines and wars in the Americas. By 1580, Spain had military commitments on 4 continents. The cost was staggering. Half of Spain's revenue went to the military, and still, it wasn't enough. Stage 2 is currency debasement. The Spanish crown couldn't pay its bills with taxes alone, so they did what every failing empire does. They debased the currency. They started mixing copper into silver coins. A coin that was supposed to be pure silver became 50% copper, then 75% copper. The face value stayed the same, but the real value plummeted. By 1600, Spanish silver coins contained barely any silver. Merchants stopped accepting them at face value. Inflation exploded. Stage 3 is debt spiral. Spain borrowed constantly from Italian bankers, from German bankers, from anyone who would lend. By 1557, less than 20 years into Philip's reign, Spain declared bankruptcy. They defaulted on their debts, restructured, and kept borrowing. They declared bankruptcy again in 1560, again in 1575, again in 1596. 4 bankruptcies in 40 years. Each time they promised reforms. Each time they went right back to borrowing and spending. Stage 4 is loss of productive capacity. Here's what people don't understand about Spain's collapse. They had all the gold and silver in the world, and it destroyed them, because when you have unlimited money, you stop producing. Why grow food when you can import it? Why build ships when you can buy them? Why innovate when you can just spend? Spanish nobility considered every work beneath them. As a result, manufacturing declined and agriculture stagnated. All the wealth flowed to importing goods from other countries. The gold and silver that came from the Americas went straight back out to pay for French wine, Italian silk, and Dutch goods. Spain became a conduit. Wealth flowed through them, but none of it stayed. By 1600, Spain was producing almost nothing. They were entirely dependent on imports, entirely dependent on silver to pay for everything. And when the silver mines began to deplete, when production dropped, the entire system collapsed. Stage 5 is social decay. With a failing economy, crime exploded. Beggars filled the streets of Madrid. Productive citizens immigrated. The best minds left for France, England, and the Netherlands. The countries that were building, creating, and growing. Spain was left with bureaucrats, soldiers, and priests. No one was creating wealth. Everyone was consuming it. By 1640, Spain lost Portugal. By 1650, they lost the Netherlands, their richest territory. And by 1700, the Spanish Empire was a shell, still large on paper, but economically dead. They went from the world's superpower to a secondary power in less than a century, and they never recovered. Spain today is a regional European country, pleasant, cultured, but irrelevant on the world stage. The descendants of the conquistadors are a tourist destination. That's what imperial collapse looks like. Let's jump forward 300 years. It's Britain in the 1900s, the empire where the sun never set. At its peak, Britain controlled 25% of the world's land surface, 400 million subjects. The pound sterling was the global reserve currency. Every major trade contract was denominated in pounds. Every central bank held British bonds. London was the financial centre of the world. And just like Spain 300 years earlier, they believed it was permanent, but they were already following the pattern. Stage 1, the military overextension. By 1900, Britain had military commitments everywhere. India, Africa, the Middle East, China, the Pacific, the Caribbean. They had to defend territory on 6 continents. The cost was enormous. And when World War I started in 1914, Britain faced a choice. Stay neutral and let Europe destroy itself, or jump in and bankrupt the empire to win. They chose to fight. World War I cost Britain over $40 billion. That's $1 trillion in today's money. They borrowed from everyone, mostly from the United States. By 1918, Britain owed America billions. The creditor had become the debtor, but they'd won the war. They kept the empire. They thought they could rebuild, but they were wrong. Stage 2, currency debasement. The pound sterling was supposed to be backed by gold, but the war had drained Britain's gold reserves. They'd shipped gold to America to pay for weapons, food, supplies. By 1920, Britain's gold reserves were half what they had been in 1914, but they tried to maintain the pound's value anyway. They went back on the gold standard at the pre-war rate in 1925. The problem was that the pound was overvalued. British exports became too expensive. Manufacturing declined, unemployment rose, and the government had to keep interest rates high to defend the currency. This destroyed the domestic economy. By 1931, they couldn't hold it anymore. Britain abandoned the gold standard. The pound lost 25% of its value overnight. Stage 3, the debt spiral. Britain never recovered from World War I debt, and then World War II started. Another $120 billion in costs, more borrowing from America. By 1945, Britain owed the United States and Canada over $30 billion more than Britain's entire GDP. The war was won, but the empire was finished. They couldn't defend it anymore, couldn't afford it, couldn't maintain it. Stage 4, the loss of empire. In 1947, Britain gave up India, the crown jewel, and the source of wealth for 200 years gone. Over the next 20 years, they lost everything: Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and the Caribbean. By 1970, the British Empire existed only in history books. Stage 5, the currency collapse. The pound kept falling. In 1940, £1 equaled $403. By 1950, $280. By 1970, $240. By 1980, £2 equaled 30, and today it's fallen to £27. The global reserve currency became a regional currency. Britain tried to maintain permanent seat on the UN Security Council, nuclear weapons, special relationship with America. But everyone knew the truth. They were a former power, a museum of what used to be great. The empire was gone and it never came back. Now let's look at the most recent example, the Soviet Union, which ruled from 1945 to 1991. After World War II, the USSR emerged as a superpower. They had nuclear weapons, massive military control over Eastern Europe, satellites in space, and they believed they were the future, and communism would bury capitalism and the Soviet model would dominate. For 45 years, they competed with America, matched USA militarily, built more tanks, more missiles, more troops, but beneath the surface, the economy was dying. Stage 1, the military overextension. The Soviet Union spent 15 to 20% of GDP on the military. That's triple of what America spent. They had to match American technology, American reach, American alliances. They were in Afghanistan, propping up Cuba, supporting Syria, Vietnam, North Korea, Angola, Ethiopia. Everywhere America had influence, they had to counter. The cost was unsustainable. Stage 2, the economic stagnation. The Soviet economy stopped growing in the 1970s. Oil revenue kept them afloat, but nothing else worked. Factories produced junk, farms failed, technology fell decades behind. By the 1980s, the Soviet Union was importing grain. A country with some of the best farmland on earth couldn't feed itself. Why? Because central planning doesn't work, because innovation dies under control, because no one produces when there's no incentive. Stage 3, currency collapsed. The ruble was never a real currency. It couldn't be exchanged internationally. Even Soviet citizens didn't trust it. They used dollars when they could get them. The government had to buy foreign goods with gold and oil because nobody wanted rubles. By 1985, oil prices dropped. Soviet gold reserves were depleting. They were running out of real money. Stage 4, the loss of empire. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Eastern Europe left. Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania, East Germany, all gone in a year. The satellites that gave the Soviet Union strategic depth vanished. The Soviet government couldn't stop it, and they were broke. Stage 5, the complete collapse. On December 26, 1991, the Soviet Union ceased to exist. 900 days from Berlin Wall to complete dissolution. No war, no invasion, just economic implosion. The military couldn't be paid. The government couldn't function. The ruble became worthless. A superpower with 30,000 nuclear weapons collapsed from internal economic failure. The pattern played out again: overextension, currency failure, debt, loss of empire, and finally collapse. And here's what should keep you awake at night. The United States is following the exact same pattern stage by stage. Let me show you how. Stage 1, the military overextension. The United States has over 750 military bases in 80 countries. It has troops in 150 countries. It is committed to defending Europe through NATO, defending Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, fighting in the Middle East, countering China, countering Russia. Its military budget is $850 billion annually, more than the next 10 countries combined. But the equipment is aging, recruitment is down, and USA has commitments it cannot fulfill. If China invades Taiwan, if Russia pushes into NATO territory, if Iran closes the Persian Gulf, it cannot respond to all of it simultaneously. USA is overextended, just like Spain, just like Britain, just like the USSR. Stage 2, the currency debasement. In 1971, Nixon closed the gold window. The dollar became pure fiat currency. Since 2000, the money supply has increased 400%. Since 2020, USA has printed over $6 trillion. The dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power since 1971.
Every color hides one cat, so that lonely purple square gotta be a cat.
USA is not mixing copper into silver coins, it is just printing unlimited paper. The mechanism is different, but the result is the same. Stage 3, the debt spiral. The United States owes $36 trillion, and that's 120% of the GDP. Interest payments alone are approaching $1 trillion per year. It is spending more on interest than on defense. The economy runs deficits every year, $1.8 trillion in 2024 in a growing economy. During peacetime, it borrows to pay interest on previous borrowing. That's the definition of a debt spiral. Spain defaulted 4 times. Britain borrowed until it collapsed. The USSR ran out of money. America is on the same path. Stage 4, the loss of productive capacity. America doesn't make things anymore. It designs, finances, and consumes, but don't produce. Its manufacturing base has been gutted, shipped to China, Mexico, and Vietnam. USA imports $800 billion more than it exports annually. It is dependent on foreign supply chains for everything: medicine, electronics, steel, even military components. Just like Spain became dependent on imports while the silver flowed out, USA is dependent on imports while dollars flow out. Stage 5, social decay. Trust in institutions is at all-time lows. Crime is rising. Homelessness is exploding. Drug overdoses kills 100,000 Americans annually. The best and brightest are leaving or checking out. Fertility rates are collapsing. Political dysfunction is total. We Americans can't agree on anything, can't fix anything, can't build anything. The signs of decay are everywhere, but everyone pretends it's fine. It's not fine. We're on stage 5 of 7. The Soviet Union made it to stage 5 before complete collapse. So did Britain. Spain lasted longer, but the pattern is the same. We're not at the end yet, but we're deep into the sequence. Stage 6 is loss of reserve currency status. That's when allies start diversifying. When trade moves to other currencies. When the dollar comes flooding back home because no one needs to hold it anymore. And we're seeing early signs. BRICS nations are developing alternatives. Central banks are buying gold. China and Russia are trading in yuan and rubles. Saudi Arabia is accepting yuan for oil. The cracks are forming. Stage 7 is total collapse. Not gradual decline, sudden implosion. The Soviet Union went from superpower to non-existent in 900 days. Britain lost the empire in 20 years. Spain took longer, but the result was the same. When the reserve currency fails, when the debt becomes impossible, when the military can't be funded, it doesn't decline gracefully. It collapses quickly, brutally. And everyone who thought it couldn't happen here learns the same lesson every empire learns. It can, and it does. 3 empires followed this pattern: Spain, Britain, the USSR. Each believed they were exceptional. Each believed they were different. Each believed the rules didn't apply to them. Well, they were wrong every single time. The pattern doesn't care about exceptionalism. The pattern is mathematical. You cannot spend beyond your means forever. You cannot maintain empire without productive capacity. You cannot debase your currency without consequences. You cannot avoid stage 6 and 7 once you've completed 1 through 5. The sequence is locked in. The only question is timing. Maybe America has 10 years, maybe 5, or maybe less. But the pattern says that the collapse is coming. And when it comes, it won't be slow. It'll be sudden. Do subscribe to the channel if this opened your eyes. See you in another video. Take care.
America done hit that wall of prophecy. Lord willing, Yahawashi continue to speed this thing up. Okay, once again, America done hit this wall of prophecy. Okay, that judgment's written. You ain't gonna get out of it. So as you stupid Babylonians, okay, especially, Jake ass, you go out there and celebrate these wicked ass holidays, not realizing it's about to become a funeral. And see, Yahawashi is not with the feast days, the holidays of this world. It tells you in the book of 1 John chapter 2 and 15, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Okay, so all you jakes that's going out there and celebrating, okay, just know that Yahawashi is not with you. You're making yourselves enemies to Yahawashi, as it tells you in, let's go to the book of James. Let's go to the book of James, chapter 4 and verse 4. It says, ye adulterers and adulteress, know ye not that friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy to the Most High. And you're becoming an enemy in the midst of prophecy. Okay, this is the worst time, okay, to be in the world. Okay, see, this word done went out. Okay, Yahawashi has given you the good news. Okay, this gospel to repent, turn back, come up out of this world. Okay, and Jake refused. Okay, but we know Zechariah 13:8 has to play out. Okay, a lot of you Jakes are getting ready to go down to Egypt for help. A lot of you Jakes are still engulfed in folly. Okay, and loving this world, getting ready to go put your top hats on, getting ready to go shoot off your fireworks, getting ready to go eat off the grill. Okay, getting ready to put on your t-shirts that say I love America. Okay, not realizing that this bitch is getting ready to become a funeral. Okay, this bitch is getting ready to become a funeral. America, okay, which is Babylon the Great, pursuing the prophecy, has hit a great wall, okay, of prophecy. Okay, and it's written from the beginning, as it tells you in the book of Isaiah 46, which we always get. Isaiah 46 and 9, it says, remember the former things of old, for I'm the Most High and there is none else. I'm the Most High and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning. So it is written that America is going to fall, okay, as it tells you in Jeremiah 51, how Babylon can't be healed, okay? No matter how many songs and dances, okay, you niggas put together, this place is not going to be healed, okay? I'm the Most High and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times. The things that are yet not done, saying my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. See, the counsel of the Lord is getting ready to stand. Okay. The counsel of the Lord is getting ready to stand. Babylon is not going to be healed, and we'll get that. This is Jeremiah 51, getting straight to the point. Excuse me. Excuse me. Salakia. This is Jeremiah 51:9. It says, matter of fact, we'll start up some. We'll start at verse 6. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon. Okay, and this is not a flee doctrine. Okay, this is telling our people to mentally come up out of this place, repent, turn back. Okay, as we always get in Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This is not our rest. See, Jake is getting so comfortable in his captivity, okay, and not realizing he's like that boiling frog in the pot. Okay, not realizing that a great judgment is around the corner and you're going to die over here. Okay. Flee ye out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render into her a recompense. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen. Okay. And like that video said, once you get to that fifth stage, it could be at any moment. It's going to be sudden. Okay, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgments reaches into heaven and is even lifted up into the skies. So judgment is coming. Okay, at the end of the day, judgment is coming. It don't matter what these people do. Okay, Babylon is not going to be healed. Okay. Your wicked celebrations, okay? Let's go to Isaiah 13, okay? And we're going to end right here because the judgment is coming, okay? The judgment is coming. It says judgment on the day of the Lord. This is Isaiah 13:6. It says, howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a desolation from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as a flame. Behold, the day of the Lord, Yahawashi, cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. Okay, that's the end game. Yahawashi is getting ready to flatten this bitch, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give her light. The sun shall be darkened, and his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil. And this is the point. Okay, Yahawashi is getting ready to punish the world, okay, especially over here in America, Babylon the Great, for their evil. Okay? We see this collapse, okay, because, the moral decay, okay, they getting ready to receive the same judgment, inherit the same judgment as Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? We see the financial decay, okay? We see the love of many waxing cold. See, it's getting ready to get bad over here. So while y'all celebrating, holding hands, celebrating today, guess what? Y'all going to be enemies tomorrow when Yahawashi bring this famine, okay? Y'all are going to be enemies tomorrow when you find your storehouses closed. You got to remember there's more guns in the hands of, it's more guns, in the land mass of America, Babylon the Great, than there are people. Yahawashi is getting ready to bring these strange calamities, okay? Niggas getting ready to act up over here. So once again, while you celebrating today, just get prepared for tomorrow, all right? And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And I will lay low the haughty of the terrible. And I will make a man more precious than fine gold. And this is a man of the Lord. Okay? Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall be removed out of her place, and the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. So that's what's getting ready to come to America, Babylon the Great. Okay, Yahawah's fierce anger. Okay, and as I entitled my video, there are 3 stages to an empire. Okay, and once again, we're in that last stage. Okay, and there's 7 stages to a collapse. Okay, and we're in the 5th stage. And at any moment, this thing can implode on itself. Okay, this thing can implode on itself. So while y'all are out there celebrating the 4th of July, okay, the hopeful elect is celebrating prophecy. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah by Hashem, Yahawashi by Hashem, Rakakwadash, double honors to the head apostles and elders. Shalom to all the Akim and Akwaf. Shalom.